Welcome to our second annual Prepare NSF Rapid PI meeting. For those of you who have not attended this meeting before, Prepare is a NSF-sponsored virtual organization that aims to build a community of multidisciplinary researchers who are interested in developing the scientific foundations and the engineering principles that help us plan and respond to the ongoing as well as future pandemics. You can find more information about Prepare on the webpage. But briefly, Prepare has 4 key parts to their mission. One is to identify important research questions at the intersection of science and other areas through discussion with the government, organizations, academia, and industry, to create a research roadmap that proposes research directions that science can then effectively use to prepare next generation funding opportunities, facilitate the collection of comprehensive data and tools that can be shared by the research community so that they can undertake interesting research, and collect pedagogic material that will help in educating the future generations of scientists. This is approximately 1 year since we started the program, and we have made quite a bit of progress during the last 1 year. This is the 4th workshop that we are hosting. Of course, we have participated in the PIP workshops that NSF had sponsored and hosted, which I think were excellent and went very well with the Prepare mission. There are 2 podcasts that we are developing as a part of Prepare. Science Before the Storm is one podcast, and there's one more that you can find on the web. Finally, we have collected a lot of different material that we hope can be useful as program directors at SAIS, as well as NSF and researchers can use to create long-term networks in this area. So over the next 2 days, we're going to try and learn about the amazing work folks have done as a part of NSF-funded RAPID program. As you all know, NSF RAPID program was extremely influential in supporting a number of researchers, including us and others. And it was allowing all of us to study problems that arose during the ongoing pandemic. Our goal for this workshop is for the community to learn about this research and, importantly, identify gaps in the current state of the art. Furthermore, we hope that this will provide an opportunity for fostering new collaborations. I would like to now invite Dr. Wendy Nilsen, Acting Deputy Director of NSF ISS, to give opening remarks. Before I ask Dr. Nilsen to take over the podium, let me just briefly introduce her. Dr. Wendy Nilsen is Acting Deputy Division Director in the Information and Intelligence Systems Division in SAIS. She's also the lead program director in the Smart Health program. Her work has focused on the intersection of computing and health functioning. She also serves as a co-chair of the Health Information Technology Research and Development Working Group of the Network and Information Technology Research and Development Program, and is serving on numerous federal technology initiatives. Prior to joining NSF, Wendy was at National Institutes of Health. Dr. Nilsen, welcome, and we'd like you to give us a few opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As you can tell by that one lovely introduction, this is the stuff that's near and dear to my heart. And it's not just an ugly little COVID cell, but it's children in schools that, with how we're affecting kind of our whole community and all the things that pandemics do, and the role computing and engineering and other disciplines can play in changing this. I love to put this slide up just to remind myself how this isn't going away, and the numbers are staggering. You all know it. It's the personal toll, but to me, it makes it real again when I look at these numbers all the time, and I always update them every time I give a talk, because it's not going away. And if you know, many of you, I'm sure, are working with the experts in the pandemic world. There's concerns that this is one of many coming. So the work that you're doing now is preparing you for the next one, and I hope preventing the next one. But I do want to say the one silver lining in COVID, and don't think that I'm minimizing COVID because I'm not, is I think it's transformed many things, and it's transformed how we do science and health. I think that the collaborations were, when I started the Smart Health program at I started it at NIH with my colleague at NSF in 2014, there was skepticism of what computing's role was in the health world. Why do we need to be involved with that? That's them, it's application. It's not application. It could be, but there is so much science we need to do in this area. And you all, I think, are in the cutting edge of how we're doing that. And we need you to do what you're doing so that we get to that next point. I would like to see it so that computing and engineering are a normal part of how these worlds transform, because they're transforming everything else. And I talk about this all the time. We're not transforming health at the same speed we're transforming everything else. And it's not like the US is doing well. Even before the pandemic, the indicators were poor. So what you're doing is a huge service, not just to our regular scientific community, but to our whole country and the world. But I think the issue here is there are many, many issues in siloed sciences. I've been talking about this as long as I've been working, but we have these silos. We don't even have the same campus. I remember at my university, we had the computer science program was on one side of a river. It was a cemetery and a river between the computer science program and the med school. They were, and you might say that's no big deal. It was a big river. And the cemetery, it wasn't like you could just pop over and say hi. You had to get in a car, drive all the way around. There's somewhere the med school is in a different part of the state. So these are not even the campuses, and the financial barriers are huge. There's different incentives, different rewards. And I know I was just in a meeting recently where one of the senior people said, I tell my students, don't ever do this. Don't ever do these partnerships until you've gotten tenure. But we need new ideas. We need all this. So thank you for being who you are and starting to break these barriers. I think the bridges between these communities are huge. And everybody knows this is my mantra, build these bridges. And I think building the language, building the bridges, a pandemic is a wicked problem at a scale that we rarely hit. We talk about climate, but health is the same kind of thing. It's a wicked problem and you can't solve it. It used to be that you could go out and be a biologist and you could solve the whole problem. You could computing, you could solve the whole problem. But when we hit wicked problems, you can't. It's not one discipline anymore. You need different expertise. You need different funds and resources. I partner with my colleagues at NIH all the time because they have a different set of resources for the community to use. And I think that trainees are going to make the difference. So the work that you do with your trainees now will transform the world we live in the future. So you're starting it, but your trainees are going to have a kind of bicultural bilingualness in working between these worlds, that it's going to make it so that we can make a bigger difference. And I always put this one, when I first came to NSF, somebody said, I really like to collaborate with myself. Collaborating with yourself, I get it, but you can't do it on your own. It's super hard. There's language issues, there's incentives, there's all sorts of things. But the collaboration is what makes this really valuable. And I think that's what Prepare is all about. It really is this effective race between the basic questions in pandemics, some of the applied questions in pandemics, and the basic science you're doing. We're so glad that you're here building a community, building this research that allows, this is, as Madhav mentioned before, PIP is an initiative to prevent the next pandemic. Smart Health, these are all ways NSF, in addition to Prepare, is looking to build these interdisciplinary communities, build these relay races. It shouldn't just be you that picks up the torch and has to carry it all the way to the finish line. I used to have people say to me, I don't even know how to get something through FDA. Well, you should know how to get something through FDA. It's not your job. There are people that actually do that for a living. But creating teams, creating the right thing lets us do a relay race that gets us to the finish line and keeps everybody safer and well. So with that, I want to say thank you. I'm looking forward intensely to this meeting. I'm just so excited by what you're doing, and I really look forward to it. So please feel free to absolutely change the world, because we need it, and continue the wonderful tradition that Prepare has started. So thank you.